Greetings on YouTube. It's Leo12 Scar12 here, back on the set again. Taylor Shaquille Pearson finally back again. And welcome to Life Discussion of 2026. So today, you're wondering what I'm going to do for this life discussion of 2026. This time, I'm going to be doing something more different. From this point on, I'm going to try a brand new life discussion of 2026 with some stoicism and also help with psychological health. So, with that being told, today's topic is going to be about psychological health in general. And yes, this is actually one of the most vital discussions about the mental health. See, psychological health can is actually the key factor of why many people today are struggling with, and more importantly, the disabilities that they also carry. So, why am I going on with this? So, I'm going to use a little bit of some logic here. Psychological health is displayed with emotions and with your mental disability, and also with a part of the emotional spectrum. Now, many people struggle with this type of disability, and more importantly, with this type of health. Some actually were benefiting with bad habits in order to keep themselves from sustaining health. Now, keep in mind, bad habits with your psychological health does not help you in many forms because it's not helping your psyche. It's completely killing you mentally and emotionally, and let alone spiritually, because I want to like point out some clean headers. Here are some of the five here's some of the five habits that is destroying your psychological health. Number 1, abuse. Yes, we all have been through this type of thing before. Abuse can come in many forms depending on where you are living and who are you in a relationship with, let alone in family. Abuse plays a deadly role of literally hindering and destroying a person's life, may it be male or female, and and even abuse against animals as well. Most of these common traits be happening when it's a generational curse between the great grandparents, and all the way down to parent to child. And usually that curse drags on from a long time of a family of curses, and it literally does not end well with them. And these abuses could be about physical abuse, psychological abuse, and more importantly, even abuse in many forms. But the physical abuse, on the other hand, is what drives it more painfully, because some people have not been able to find actual help because of this type of thing. Number 2, being drainage. Have you ever been psychologically drained to the point of no return, even though you have been trying your best to help that person? It usually it usually happens to the person that really works so hard with him or herself. And then it's like that one person in your circle that's been trying to help you in many forms. But whenever you're trying to motivate that person in a positive way, they just go out and dismiss it, and then you feel like every effort you put in for that person, it feels very exhausting and can actually lead you completely drained. Psychological drainage happens when certain people in your circle are actually taking advantage of you, and it literally happens to when habits are being played, and then you feel like you're getting ready to destroy yourself, or worse, you're going to hurt other people in your circle as well. So yeah, being psychologically drained can lead to bad factors, and worst of all, hurt the person in many forms. At number 3, aggression. Yes, aggression is a deadly is a deadly psychological thing between the emotions. See, if you're being mentally exhausted, it's not the fact that you're being aggressive towards that person, it's because you're being defensive. And most people who use aggression out of sheer hatred and resentment literally leads to everlasting conflict between the psychological health. And it can backfire on you whenever you do not have the proper treatment, or worse, it could literally hurt you in many forms. Sometimes using aggression is a real hard bargain between family and friends and who are the enemies in your circle. And most people did not find any actual refuge because of their aggression. And also another part when aggression messes around with your psyche is when you're also in a blind rage. And blind rage can literally hurt you, especially when it comes to psychological aggression. And that is one of the third bad habits that will destroy you inside and out, leaving you completely broken on the inside. And four, depression. Depression is a deadliest disease of all. It is also considered an illness between other mental disabilities and like major depressive disorder. People who struggle with major depressive disorder are also the people who been trying to find habits in order to break the cycle. Some of them use substances like alcohol and marijuana. And others, well, you can already tell it really leads to the certain part to where they think they actually are getting better, but then in reality, it's getting worse for them. And many people who struggle with this, with major depressive disorder, are usually the people who are depressed, and they struggle really hard in order to keep themselves together. But also, depression also comes from the psyche, especially when it is really hard for that person to handle. Because people who have depression can it is a serious can be a serious volatile force, and literally it could drain you inside and out, especially psychologically and mentally, because depression is usually in the emotional spectrum when it comes to people having disabilities. And finally, number five, de- and number five, physical physical exhaustion. People who are often exhausted physically can also be part of the psychological bad habit. Sometimes you ever wonder how you like to do one of your good hobbies and all that stuff. Well, sometimes it can be very exhausting when you couldn't at least expect it to happen, because people who get physically exhausted from either work or at home or in places where they wanted to go hang around with, they usually they feel drained, and not because they're drained, it is because they're also going through certain things in their life. People often dismiss it just to say that they're okay, but then within inside their psyche, they're really breaking down, and not a lot of people have been able to find such support, because when they're physically exhausted, it also means that they're psychologically drained as well, depending on the outcome in life. And it also hurts them even when they're injured. See, being psychologically drained in these forms cannot be are not a sign to be reckoned with. And more importantly, these being physically drained between the mental state and then in the physical state, because it also adds on more pressure when you're completely drained. Tell me, everybody, do you relate to any of these in this video? Let me know in the comments description below, and I will also be making some more rant videos. As always, please subscribe to my channel, and also if you want to see some more live discussions of 2026, please let me know in the comments description below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care, and thank you for watching.